exactly.
Right? Some point, we don't know when that is, whether it was sooner or later.
Right.
And then moved from living out of all of this fear, again, of the authority of death, of sickness, all these things, and turn it into an actual love for my life, love for the life essence, love for that sort of eternal element that I had been witness to in its own pristine place.
Well, the thing is, now, when you talk of that, this doesn't sound like the soul dying in any sense.
Right.
True
enough.
When you're witness to this eternal, essential allness, if you will, this doesn't seem like someone who is, sort of afraid their soul is going to die, or recognizing that they might that way. So
yeah, it sounds like a paradox, but because the basis of life, like even the whole universe will implode, apparently, right? According to the Indian calendar, we're
as of today. As of today, they might change the theory tomorrow, though. You never know.
True enough. Yeah, according to the Indian calendar, we're in the Black Age. We're headed for. It's going to take at least a couple 100,000 more years, so we're good for the week.
Unless you read Yukteswar, who says it was a mistake.
Okay.
It was all a mistake. It was all a mistake.
Oh, I feel better already.
There was a slight miscalculation. We were not really in that age.
Okay, there you go. That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, it is.
Because
he did say that prognosis was pretty grim.
Yeah. It doesn't. It actually helped me, believe it or not. It helped me to explain why things are as nutty as they are in the world in general. But so this is how I think through it with my own head, and it's not to make anybody try to believe that.
Yes.
But even the universe could completely implode, and but yet life is still ever present.
Yeah, that which is not subject to change or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
But to me, soul is very much subject to change. It is the
vehicle,
very it's the the substance of all of the creativity, all of the things that we're compelled to do and create, and the meetings that we have, the depth, the emotional being and the emotional life, I think, is all really tied in the life of the soul. If you're familiar with Thomas More, so a little bit more along the lines where he's been explaining that word that none of us really know what it means.
Yes. So there was a transformation for you, obviously.
There was a transformation at that point. I walked away from a lot of treatments against the advice of my physicians, but interestingly, for the first time, they stopped trying to scare me. And I didn't even explain to them what I'd been through. But when I turned it down, they just kind of went, okay, like this. My physician to this day won't even chat with me. If I run into him, and I have, he won't even acknowledge me. He doesn't want to know how or why I got better.
That's unusual.
Yeah, I know. That's
because
sad.
I would be interested.
Yeah, exactly. You think there'd be
I would be
curiosity?
Really interested.
Yeah.
I would be very interested to find out what happened.
Yeah, it was literally from that day and from that moment. Learning to live from a place of love for myself, for life, for preserving the space of the soul, that things turned.
That is so inspiring when you say it. I mean, seriously. I can tell you're a very down-to-earth, practical person, but you also, you've just stated something so point blank, that when you started to love everything, as it were, that things changed for you? Yeah,
again, that tiny little turn of motivation, that's the key. And it's not like I learned it perfectly. Boy, now I use fear on my son. Oh, good. Right. You might die. I don't drink water and all these things. It's so not the right motivation. I know that. So this is...
But you catch yourself now.
I'm more aware of... those two places that you can come from. It's the same with exercising or doing yoga or any kind of self-care that we take on. Are we doing it out of this place
of love?
Yeah, exactly. They're just diametrically opposite effects that come of the identical things.
Just fear of not surviving.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's a lifelong practice. It doesn't... maybe it does matter what we realize and what revelations we have, but it's just a daily practice.
Yeah, I can see that. And so, what happened after the transformation occurred? You know, like this you said it was a rapid climb.
Yeah.
And did you reach a certain plateau of understanding and functionality, as it were,
Exactly.
where your body got better?
My body definitely did this steady climb, and with the help of like tons of different. I had a great diet going on. I did a raw food diet at the time. Had several therapists. Did a lot of Reiki. Eventually, was doing a lot of massage. Got back into the yoga meditation. Saw a fabulous psychologist, helped me work through a lot of emotional holdings, which I think is a massive part of any kind of healing going on, that if we're holding on to bad experiences in our body, then they're going to cause us trouble at one point or another.
Right. So you arrived.
So, I arrived,
you landed.
I landed,
yes.
and it made me realize that I couldn't go back into a life of business to my family's disappointment, but that was, I knew clearly that in order to survive, I needed to fulfill my callings, what I came to Earth to do.
Right.
Was to sing, to practice yoga. I started teaching yoga so that I would practice it. Honestly, like, to be fully honest about that, it's and I have a built-in teacher, so that's not a big stretch for me either. I really adore being in that space where people will trust me to guide them through a process, and cheer to no end when they just take something and run with it. It's a really beautiful thing for me to watch.
So basically, yoga became the kind of means by which you furthered and strengthened yourself?
Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and discovered that it can be used for so many ways to, if you're stressing your blood pressure way up here, you can use it to bring it down.
Right.
If you're feeling dull and uninspired, you can use it to ramp energy right up.
Exactly.
And
And so we're talking, what, 2002, 2003?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. By 2003, I had spent that entire year recording my first CD after the illness, and had partnered up with Dan Donahue to arrange and put together Where There's Beauty. Was that album? Yeah. He actually saw me coming out as in more of the pop world, which was interesting. It was a diversion for me. It wouldn't have been my choice, and neither was the world ready to receive me that way, kind of thing. So
as a pop diva.
Yeah, as a pop diva, exactly. Like this, Madonna had her Sanskrit chants come out around that time on which album was it? Ray of Light. And so that was kind of where we were headed, and it wasn't quite my path at that point. It was. It's a beautiful record. If you ever get a chance to, I think I actually have a copy for you. And so, it was a bit of a different direction, and it pretty quickly made me turn back to some of the more grassroots of the mantras and more meditative music.
Well, it's mantra yoga, actually. Kirtan.
That's right.
It's mantra yoga.
Exactly.
But with musical accompaniment, rather than just chanting.
That's the thing, that Kirtan's, was born in the 15th century of India, so it's really old. And
do you know which lineage that might have come from?
Well, that's the beginning of the Bhakti.
Okay.
Right.
Bhakti,
so that was the very beginning, and the Bhaktis were actually a rebel response to the way that religion had been completely held by the Brahmin caste. That if you weren't born into the right family, you did not have access to spiritual education, including mantras. Right? They were very cloistered. They were kept in a secret space. There's also good reason for that. I have to say, there's something to be said for a healthy respect.
Yeah, preserving the integrity of the teachings.
The integrity, but also the power that unleashes from it. There's got to be some guidance around that.
That's
what
right.
do you do with
Yes,
this?
yes.
Do you just run naked in the streets and proclaim your immortality? Maybe not. Hopefully not.
There are those that
There are
do.
those.
There are those that do.
And worse. So, you start to hear stories these days of people that have become very powerful, have huge amounts of energy, the whole Shaktipad thing, and then they abuse. The stories about abusers of power are almost more than you can come up with the people that can keep it all together in the process.
I
right?
think that's just based on what humans are attracted to.
Sure.
In terms of they're interested in sort of negative things more sometimes than truly positive ones, which are probably going on 90% of the time more than the other stuff. But
That's right.
they're drawn to the darkness.
Exactly.
In the middle
yeah.
of all the light sometimes. But
Yeah.
so you started, so the Kirtan was already happening for you by the time
It's,
you recovered, or
when-
had you been doing that before as well?
Yeah, it was a big part of my training in India.
Oh, okay.
So music was a regular part of all of the teachings that I received there. I studied enough Sanskrit to be able to read the letters and learn how to pronounce things properly. I got licensed there to write my own music to mantras and verses and that kind of thing. And from that point, just kind of was off to the races. I've been writing consistently since I began my studies in India. And
while you were sick, you were also going to India, or no?
No, that broke my India habit completely. Yeah, 99 was my last trip, and
Okay.
I haven't been back.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, then maybe you're due.
Yeah, perhaps.
Maybe you're due.
Yeah, we'll see.
But so after your recovery, you kind of launched into this sort of singing aspect of your life, and how was that received?
Well, as I was mentioning, the pop direction wasn't the kind of the true one for me. So that was like kind of didn't have that momentum that, for example, Dan thought it would.
Right.
And that I hoped. And so what I ended up doing in the process was beginning to connect with the modern Kirtan scene. So we've come from the 15th century, now we're all the way to the modern day, and I start discovering that there's a huge world out there. For example, John Friend, quite a famous yoga teacher, came through Winnipeg, and he brought the Merry Mystical Band with him. So he had Wade Morissette, and he had Dave Stringer, and he had Swaha, and these three are among, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 artists that have taken Kirtan into more of a popular realm, not necessarily pop, although some of them are very poppy. Music
Krishna Das?
Yeah, Krishna Das, of course. Sorry, you have to mention that guy.
Started,
Jayatal, he's considered the king of Kirtan for sure. That's very true. Before anybody or anything, he was already showing up on the shelves at Praise Guides. Bhagavan Das, there's a big story with that guy.
And so you were sort of continuing.
Yeah, started to connect with those guys. Ended up going to Minneapolis to play with Dave Stringer, and just was kind of getting inspired of this.
Right.
They are the ones that actually inspired me to take it into a call and response forum. If I don't remember to say, by the way, there is a Kirtan on January 8th, this coming Saturday.
Yes.
And so it's a free community building Kirtan, and if you have a chance to come out and you haven't experienced Kirtan before, then this might be an opportunity for you at no risk. You have to go to my website and sign up, by the way. That's my one
and
condition.
what's your website?
It's livekirtan.ca.
Live, LIVEKIRTAN.ca.
Exactly. You got it.
Livekirtan.ca.
Yeah.
And just sign up, and then
you're in, and we're over at Moksha Yoga on Donald, so that's the
Moksha
location.
Yoga, which is, do you know what the actual address is?
It's on Donald Street. The actual address, I apologize.
Between Notre Dame and that curve before it goes to Ellis kind of thing?
No, we're talking Donald right before it hits Crazy Corner. So there's a between Stradbrook and River Avenue.
There.
I just past Stradbrook. That's right. Past. I think Gertrude is the cross street.
Okay.
that there's the little strip mall for Moksha Yoga there. So,
Okay, okay, so it's just almost at Stradbrook?
It's almost just past Stradbrook.
Stradbrook?
Yeah.
On Donald.
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
strip mall on Donald.
Now I got it.
All right.
Got it.
So please join us 7
Yeah.
o'clock.